Hello everyone, my name is Amanda and welcome back to another video of the Planty Mandy. Alright, so welcome to part 7 of my Hoya Foliage Favorites series. So today we're going to talk about a more high demanded topics that you guys comment, which is splashy Hoyas. So I have to be honest with you that I actually have been dragging to do this one because I found that I don't have a lot of like inherently splashy Hoyas in my collection. So what I mean is some of the Hoyas that I'm going to show you in a second, when I first got them, they were not splashy. They were just green or have like tiny bit of like silver freckles on it. And because of the environment that I'm giving it, aka a lot of lights, it's actually become more and more splashy. And the splash basically, some of the splash actually take over the green. So yeah, so I want to put this out there first because I don't want you guys to go off there and buy the plants and hey, Amanda said this is splashy, but it's actually not. And it's very splashy in my care just because of, the environment that I'm giving them. And like I said, it's just a lot of bright light, which, we'll talk about in another video on teaching like you guys how to, or like share my experience on how to get your Hoyas become more splashy. But yeah, so I want to put this out there. And that actually brings me to my next point. So a lot of time when we purchase Hoya online or like just purchase Hoya in general, we will see like, for example, Hoya Mathieu, which is a species, right? And then we'll also see Hoya Mathieu Splash, which is like a Hoya Mathieu but with a lot of silver speckings on the leaves, right? So in my opinion, Hoya Mathieu Splash is not a species. I would say it's more like varieties or forms of Hoya Mathieu because of, for example, a lot of light that was giving the plants, which induces splashiness in the plants. So yeah, so it's basically what I did with some of these Hoyas, which is giving it a lot of bright light to induce a splashiness in it. However, there's also some other plant that it's inherently splashier than others. So meaning that, even without me giving it a tons of bright light, when I first got that plant, it is already woody splashy. However, you also have to bear in mind that if you don't maintain that light level, this splashiness of this plants or this Hoyas may be worse. So meaning that you got a plant originally, it's like super splashy, it's like silver all over the place. And when you take it home, because you are not able to maintain the same light level that the original grower was giving it, it could revert back into green because the plant just need, more chlorophyll to be able to produce food because the light you're giving it's insufficient. So yeah, so I just want to make sure that we bear this couple things in mind, and then I will show you my Hoyas. So as usual, disclaimers. Disclaimer other than the one that I just mentioned is, when I say it's rare or it's uncommon, it's only applied to my market and my location, right? For you, it's maybe super easy to get or super hard to get. So bear in mind. And number two, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 splashy Hoyas, it's just what I have in my collection that I really like, that I want to show you guys. I'm sure you guys must have like a ton more splashy Hoyas that in your possession that, you think it's better, which is completely fine. And that's why you should comment below and let me know what are they, and then I can check them out. As usual, let's start with something more common, like easily found first. So this guy, it's very common. It's probably for a lot of you guys, it's one of your first Hoyas. And this is my Hoya pubicalyx Splash. So it's really lived up to its name because it's basically all splash. So this is what I meant by like the silver is taking over the green, because if you look at, let's say the bottom leaves. So yeah, it's splashy, like the older leaf, it is splashy, but then it's not, covered in silver. And then you can see this one, it's even like half moon, borrowing the album monstera term, half moon. So it's like half of them, it's like half of this green and half of this silver. And then as the plants grow, oh, and you can see this one too. This is also a newer leaves that just start to sprout here. And then you can see the green is darker, and then it have a lot more splash on it. And then if you go up, right, to the newer leaves, it's also have a tons of splash on it. It's basically all splash, right? So this is what I meant by, and it's grow really well. Look, like it's this one. I have to like untwine it and then get it off the shelf so I can show you. But yeah, this is what I meant by like the growing environment. So as you can see, like you know, at the beginning it's splashy because it is a pubicalyx, Hoya pubicalyx special. It's supposed to be splashy, but with the increasing lights that you're giving it, that I'm giving it, it's become more and more you know, splashy. So yeah, I really like it. And the amazing part is like it's just so fast growing. Yeah, and it's super easy to care for, you know, just like a regular pubicalyx. So yep, but I'm sure that if I stop giving it enough light, if I like, you know, down the light level, or I'm actually experimenting, you see all this like new growth here, right? So this guy is reaching out outside of the grow-like area. So I really want to see like when these leaves grow out, this baby leaves grow out, I want to see like if the splash actually reverted a lot, or if the splash just like doesn't exist on this new leaves just because of the light is not as intense as where these other leaves are. So yep, this is my first one, a super splashy Hoya pubicalyx splash. Very easy to grow too. Yay. Okay, the second one I want to show you, it's not supposed to be splashy, let's put it that way. It have a little bit of silver freckles on it when I first got it. And but then again, when I give it more light, when I change up its growing environment, basically put it right next to grow lights, it start to get this really beautiful, amazing silver splash. And this is one of my favorite plants, my Hoya caudata. I think this is a Sumatra. So you know, like Hoya caudata have like gold or silver or Sumatra. There's a different forms, and I think this is the Sumatra. So what I meant by it was not splashy is if I show you some of the older leaves at the bottom, you can see it's green. That's what Sumatra most of the time is. It's mostly green, and some of the leaf may have a little bit of splash on it, which is, you know, which happen. However, as you can see, the top leaves, as we go higher and higher, because the top leaves are a lot closer to my grow lights than the bottom leaves, because I'm hanging it up. So you can see like this guy, this leaf is growing out really big. This is the biggest leaf in the plant, on the plants. And then you have all this like really beautiful silver frackings. And so as like this one, actually this one is even more prominent. So is this one, so is this one, so is this one. So yeah, so you can see that's what I meant by, you know, it may not splash is, at least in most of the Hoyas, splash is not a species thing. It's more like an environmental thing. This is just from my experience and my own, you know, observation. Of course, you know, there's a plant Hoyas that are breed to be more splashy, so that's another story. However, regardless, I think this one is just so gorgeous with the silver splash and the inky green. And also, like, if you can touch a Hoya caudata, you know that the leaf feel kind of like sandpaper, and I really like this rugged, you know, leaf edge as well. And then you can see, like, I also really like this. So this guy actually just flowered for me like less than a month ago. I'll try to put a picture somewhere. But if I'm really carefully show you the peduncle, I don't know even, can you even see it? But yeah, there's a peduncle right here. It's actually start budding up again. So it's gonna, you know, as long as I give it proper care, it's probably gonna flower again soon in a month or so. So I will keep you guys posted. But oh, let's look at One more time, this leaf is gorgeous. Yay! Okay, so the third one I want to show you is the prime example of how I can use lights to change the form of a Hoya. And this is my Hoya carnosa laurel leaf. So this is what it's sold to me as. It's a Hoya carnosa laurel leaf. And I got it from Gardino Nursery, and then it has grown like a lot. It was just this one tiny one and this two tiny one, and now it's just grow all the way up. But when I first got it, it wasn't splashy. It had a little bit of silver speckles on it, but as again I give it more light, it's become more, look at this, it's become more and more splashy. And the reason I want to show you this too is because the splash even become pink. So you can see this is pink, this is turning pink, pink, and pink. So this is what I meant by, like, you can actually use the growing environment to change the form and varieties of your plants. So instead of spending 50% more on a splash version of some plants, maybe try to experiment with your grow lights and see if you can achieve a result that you want. So yeah, I do really like this one. Like, it's become so splashy that I'm suspecting, like, can it consider as a Stardust or Wilbur Grave? Because I do see like Wilbur Grave that have less splash than this Carnosa. Cause and you know that Wilbur Grave and Stardust are both a cultivar of a Hoya Carnosa as well. So yep, I love it. I love it. Not only because it's splashy, but it's because the splash actually turned pink for me. Kind of remind me of the Hoya verticillata Hardleaf Splash, and the what is the other one? The Hoya. It's also known as verticillata too, but it's like it's formerly known as the Rebegiae, which is like really famous for its pink splash as well. So yep, regardless, I love my Hoya Carnosa. And of course, just like any other Hoya Carnosa, the other benefit is it's just so easy growing. It grows so fast. So yep, this is my third favorite splashy plants, the Hoya Carnosa laurel leaf. I'll just call it as what I get it as. Yay. All right, so the next two I want to show you, and I want to save it to the last because I think these two are bred to be more splashy. Like, it's actually, when I got it, it's already splashy. So I want to make this clear. And this one, it's actually kind of, I think it's still kind of popular. And it's obviously because it's like splashiness, right? And this is the Hoya krohniana super Eskimo, I want to say, because of it's basically silver. Because you know that there is like the Hoya krohniana, which is green, the Hoya krohniana Eskimo, which is like, you know, have silver speckings, and the Hoya krohniana super Eskimo, which is just basically mostly silver. And I got this from Rick's at Rick's and Swiffer's Hoyas on Facebook. Yeah, so this guy has been growing so well. So when I first got it, it was just like this top part is not non-exist, and this bottom part wasn't this full. Like, it was much fewer leaves than this, but it just has been growing so tremendously. And of course, you know, I give it a lot of bright light to maintain the splashiness. So you can see even when the new leaves come out, it's still really you know, silver. And you know that you know, of course, one of the reasons is because, you know, this is bred to be cultivated to be like, you know, have that more silver, you know, in the plants. So yeah, but this guy, it's just so easy growing and just so gorgeous. So I just want to show you this one. So yeah, this is different than the three I show you, because this, I got it when it was already splashy. I'm just providing it the light, you know, to maintain its splashiness. So yeah, I just want to, like I said in the beginning, I'm pretty sure that like most of this like really silver or splashy plants, if you take away the light or if you give it less light, you know, the silver may be worse. So you may want to pay attention on it because they are not cheap. And if you pay a lot of money for the splashiness and then you didn't give it enough light and it's reverted back to a regular plant, then you may be a little bit sad. So, yep, this is the fall one. Hoya krohniana super eskimo, or I like to call it Hoya krohniana silver. Last but not least, this has been one of the plants that I wanted for a while. And again, I can find a reasonably priced one in the US, so I have to go overseas. But I'm glad I got it. I wouldn't say this one is like super splashy, but it is splashy. The reason that I want to save it for the last is because it's just so gorgeous in general. And this is my Hoya Svetlana. So I don't know, like I just think that the name of Svetlana matched this plant so good. It's more like had this like ice cream kind of like, you know, feeling of it. But you can see the leaf is pretty big. Like it's bigger than my palm, right? And then like, yeah, it does have really beautiful specialists and the wings. So yeah, I know a lot of these plants that I show you in the Hoya Foliage Favorites series can be overlapped. Like, you know, for example, this one is splashy and veiny and big leaves and round leaves, right? But, you know, I just decided to put it in the splashy, like, you know, category. And yeah, this guy have really big leaves and the leaves is very succulent. And there's another one here. There's some like environmental damage, which is, you know, I don't care. But yeah, but it's just so gorgeous and so beautiful. It's really lived up to its name. Svetlana. Just this really like beautiful, sexy, elegant Hoyas that I have. So yeah, I really like this one. And I haven't got it for that long yet, so I don't know, you know, is it grow fast or grow slow? But obviously so far it's still trying to acclimate to my environment. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit. However, it's just overall a really, really gorgeous, beautiful, big leaves plants that I have. All right, so that's the 5 splashy Hoyas, my favorite splashy Hoyas that I want to show you. And again, you know, I want to emphasize that some of these Hoyas, like the first 3 I show you, it's when I first got it, it wasn't that splashy at all. But then because of the environment I give it, it's become more and more splashy. And that's what happened to most of the Hoyas is it's, you know, the environmental factors do play a big role of how the plants looks, right? However, there's also like some other Hoyas, like the Hoyas krohniana silver that I show you, that are cultivated to be like silver or splashy. So those you can probably rely on the genes a little bit more on maintaining its splashiness. However, if you don't give it enough light, it's still gonna be worse. So this is at least in my experience. So with that being said, let's recap really quick. So the first one is my basically silver, basically silver Hoya pubicalyx. Hoya pubicalyx splash. Yay. And the second one I show you was this one. It's really like started from no splash to splash. And this is my Hoya caudata sumatra. Let's put it down. All right, the third one is not only that it gets splashier, the splash actually turn pink. And this is my Hoya carnosa laurel leaves. Really beautiful, like pink splash. Ooh, there we go. And the fourth one is cultivated to be very silver. And this is the Hoya krohniana silver or Hoya krohniana super eskimo. I prefer calling it silver. But yeah, it's also known as the super eskimo. Very beautiful plants. Like really grow really well, really healthy, easy growing. Last but not least, my gorgeous, gorgeous queen. I would call it a queen. This is my Hoya Svetlana. Ooh, look at the leaves. Yay. Yeah, it's really beautiful. I hope it grows well. Awesome. All right, so that's all I have got for you today. We went over 5 of my favorite Splashy Hoyas. And again, you know, if you guys have any other Splashy Hoyas that you think it's gorgeous, make sure that you put in a comment below so I can check them out. And I got a lot of questions actually on Instagram and Facebook every time when I put a Splashy Hoyas, and people ask me like what kind of grow lights I use, like how can you make, you know, how can you either maintain or how can you induce a splash on the plants? So yeah, I actually, because of so many of you guys asked the question, I actually plan to do like a detailed tutorial on like what kind of grow lights I use, how long I leave it under the lights, and all the stuff in order to make your plants a little bit more splashy, but at the same time, healthy. All right, because you don't want to stress the plants out too much. So yeah, let me know, you know, if there's something that you guys want to see, leave it in a comment below. I'm happy to film it. And as always, if you like this video, make sure you click like. If you want more future video, make sure you click subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.